Hello and welcome everyone. Today we begin with the second poem in a course, that is Fire and Ice, written by Robert Frost. I shall recite the poem for you first. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Once again, I am going to read the same poem. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. The poem Fire and Ice by Robert Frost is a metaphor for human feelings of desires and hatred. Fire represents burning desires, while ice, on the other hand, depicts ice cold hatred. It tells us about how we humans will end our own race. So, what we see here is Fire and Ice is a short poem written by Robert Frost, and in this poem, the poet refers to two predictions of how the world will end. Some say it will end in fire, whereas the others say it will end in ice. According to the poet, fire stands for desire, greed, or lust. The more you try to satisfy them, the more they grow. There is no end to it. They spread rapidly like fire and engulf your whole life. One becomes selfish and sometimes cruel also. On the other hand, ice, according to the poet, stands for hatred, coldness, and rigidity. One becomes insensitive and indifferent toward the feelings of others. The poet says that both fire and ice are growing with such a rapid speed that the world would soon perish either way, in fire or in ice. The poem Fire and Ice by Robert Frost thus is a metaphor for human feelings of desires and hatred. Fire represents burning desires, while ice, on the other hand, depicts ice cold hatred. It tells us how we humans end will be the end of our own race. In this poem, the poet said that because he believed the major themes in Fire and Ice are hatred and power of emotions are the major themes of the poem. The poet discusses the destructive features of human emotions. He uses the symbol of fire and ice to show how desires and hatred contribute to the making the world stand at the verge of a chaos. In this poem, as I have already told you, fire stands for desire and ice is for hate. The poet said this because he believed that if world is end, it would because of fire, and if world would end to ice, this is because of ice. Fire is not able to destroy the whole world, then the ice will destroy.
Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the first poem in your course called Fire and Ice, written by Robert Frost. Frost is an American poet who has written some very famous poems, and you've also read one of his works called The Road Not Taken in Class 9. Now let's look at this poem in front of us. You can do one thing, you can pause the video right here and you can read the poem for yourself, or you can read it along with me. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Okay, so now that we have read the poem, let's go on to discuss the title of the poem first. So the title is Fire and Ice. Now you see, fire and ice are two opposite words, but here the poet has not really used them as words only. He has used them to convey two opposite ideas. Fire and ice have been used here as symbols, as metaphors. Now, fire is a metaphor, is a symbol for passion, for desire, for energy, for the want. You know, when you really want something really badly, that is what fire represents. And what does ice represent? Ice represents coldness, hatred, numbness, and a sense of isolation for another person. So if you will look at the title closely, fire and ice can represent two different emotions of human beings, two different sides of a human being. One is fire, when you feel very, very passionately about something, when you really want something to happen, when you desire for something to happen in your life. And the other side is ice, when you feel very cold, very detached, when you feel hatred towards somebody, when you really want to be separated from them. That's called the emotion of ice. Here, fire and ice are not used as words, like I said, they are used as metaphors to convey a certain human emotion, to convey the way human beings feel, right? Now, let's go on to discuss the next part, which is the tone, the speaker's tone here, right? The speaker speaks with knowledge of hardship and suffering. If you look at the poem closely, you will see that it feels as if the poet knows how it feels to suffer, how it feels to be sad. And he knows the effect of desire and hate. He knows how, what desire can do to a human being. He knows what hate can do to a human being. So it's a very, very knowing sort of a tone that the poet takes, right? And he doesn't seem worried at all about the world ending. The world, he says, is ending. It is going to end, but he's not worried. So there's a complacency in the tone. There's a very calm attitude that the poet has, not because he's not worried, not because he's not aware. He's very aware, but he knows that these things are bound to happen. Human beings are not free of errors. So human beings are going to have these emotions. So the person who is weighing out the two options, weighing out means he's comparing between the two options. He seems to be even at the end, or like it doesn't even matter, because either way the world will end. So he knows that the world is going to end one way or the other. So it does not really matter to him which way it's going to end, but he knows that both of these things, fire and ice, are equally bad. Now we come to the plot of the poem. So, this poem is a description of an age old debate between people who say that the world will end in fire and the people who say that it will end in ice. So, let me explain. What does it mean? It means that for some people, the world will end in fire. For some people say that people will start fighting with each other, people will wage wars against each other, people will start killing each other, people will, want power so much, they would want territorial expansion, they will start killing, murdering each other, and that is how the world is going to end. And there are some other people who say that this world is going to be killed by hatred, this world is going to be killed by ice, when nobody will feel any emotion towards each other, when people will start to hate each other, when people will become aloof from each other, that's when the world is going to end. The poet has used this plot, the poet has picked up this debate between fire and ice on how this world will end, and he has twisted these words a little bit to add the twist of human emotion to these two words, to convey that the world can end by both desire and by both hatred, by both desire and hatred, right? So this debate is very symbolic. It's not really about global warming and ice age. It is about the human desire for power and hatred towards other human beings, right? Now that we've discussed the title and the plot of the poem, let's see what the poem means line by line. Let's read the poem. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. So the poet very clearly says that some people say that the world will end due to fire, and some people say that it will end due to ice. Like I told you, fire and ice represent different things here. Some people say that the world will end because of some people's desire, and there are other people who will say that it will end because people will start hating each other. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. So the poet says, from whatever my experiences are, from whatever I know of desire, I hold with those. Means I agree with those who favor fire. The poet himself also feels that the world will end due to fire, which means that the world will end due to some people's desire, some people who desire to gain all the power, some people who desire to rule over the world, and the world is going to end because of such people. But if it had to perish twice, what is it here? It refers to the world here. If it had to perish twice, perish means to be destroyed. But if the world had to be destroyed twice, twice means two times. If the world could be destroyed two times, I think I know enough of hate. I think I know enough of hate. The poet says that he knows that hate is such that it can also be used for the destruction. He says that in the next line, to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. Suffice means to be enough. So he says that I know enough of hatred. I know that hatred could also be used to put an end to this world. So in the beginning of the poem, the poet says that I agree with the people who say that the desire of some people will lead to the end of the world, but towards the end of the poem he says that people's hatred towards each other will lead to the end of the world. We've discussed the poem, we've discussed the meaning of the lines of the poem. Now let's come to the poetic devices that are used in the poem. The first poetic device, and this is very common, is imagery. Now, what is imagery? Imagery is a poetic device that makes use of words that create a visual representation or an imagery in your mind. So this means that whenever we use imagery, it creates a mental picture in your head. Whenever the poet says that I tasted something, it will create a mental picture of the poet actually tasting something, right? So let's look at this line, from what I've tasted of desire. So this line makes the reader connect more personally to the narrator because it recalls a sense that is universally experienced, right? Imagery generally has to deal with any of those five senses that you have. Here the poet is talking about tasting something, right? Now let's move on to diction. What do we mean by diction? Diction is the choice of words, and the way a poet chooses his or her words define what the poem will look like in the end, right? So in diction lies most of the poetic devices that are used by any poet. So let's look at these words. Some say. The first two lines of the poem starts with these words, or this phrase rather, some say. So this phrase starts off both line 1 and line 2. It is also an example of alliteration because the sound S of the consonant S is repeated. So this is an example of alliteration. The repetition of this word some, this shows that it is a universal question and it does not apply to any one individual or a certain group. So you can't really say that this person says that or this person says something else, right? Some means that it is a common understanding. It is a very universal thing that people say that the world will end due to desire and hatred. Tasted. This shows that the speaker has felt the power of desire before in his or her life. Why are we pointing out words to you? We are pointing out words to you because these words convey a sense of imagery in your head. These words convey a sense of, poetic creation in your head. The next phrase is favor fire. As you can see, the letter F is repeated. Therefore, perish and destruction. These are synonyms for each other. These have similar meaning. Enough and suffice. These are synonyms for each other, which are used in the poem, right? Great. So this means powerful. It does not mean fantastic or very good. It just means very powerful, very huge, right? And the last word is suffice. This word is very, very ironic in use. Ironic means when do we say that something is ironic? When the actual meaning is something else, but the superficial meaning is another thing, right? So very ironic, because suffice has a limit where there is enough, but the world ending is an example of excess. So the world is going to get destroyed, and yet the poet says that ice is enough to end it. So there's a kind of irony here. Now that we've discussed all the poetic devices used in the poem, we've also analyzed the poem in detail. Think about both the ideas, fire and ice. Think about what they represent in actual life. Think about what their literal meanings are.
I shall read out once again the summary for you. The detailed summary, Fire and Ice, is a symbolic poem by Robert Frost. The poet wants to aware the humanity that everything will end one day as a result of human misdeeds. The poet says that both fire and ice are destructive. Fire of violent desires will put the world to an end. If the world had to perish twice, then it will be perished by the hatred between man and man. Ice has been presented as the symbol of hatred. So, what we see here is there are two important points which are there in the poem. One is about the end of the world, and the second is that there are two different beliefs about the end of the world. So, I was talking about the end of the world. It is certain that this world will come to an end. What is certain? It is certain that this world will come to an end. The poet shares the belief of the people that everything that exists now will end sooner or later. The poet deals with a very sublime subject, and that is the end of the world. Now, another thing what we see here is there are two different beliefs. The poet talks about two different beliefs regarding the end of the world. This is the material world as we all believe, and the same that religions also say. Some say that this world will end in fire. The world will be reduced to a fireball in the end. There are others who think that this world will end in ice, freezing all kinds of life into death and destruction.